in a land where kings called themselves gods, a cry rose from the dust, a nation enslaved, a child hidden, a man called, and a sea split open by the breath of God. This is the story of Moses and the Exodus, a divine escape from the chains of empire. Egypt's the most powerful empire on earth. But Pharaoh grew fearful of the Hebrews, a foreign people multiplying in his land, so he gave the order. Every Hebrew baby boy must die, but one mother refused to surrender. She placed her infant in a basket, and let the Nile carry him. That child was found by Pharaoh's own daughter, and she named him Moses, drawn out of the water. He grew up in the palace of the enemy, yet the blood of the oppressed ran in his veins. One day, witnessing a Hebrew slave beaten, Moses snapped. He struck down the Egyptian and fled into the wilderness. Broken, banished, forgotten, years passed. Moses became a shepherd in Midian. But one day, on Mount Horeb, he saw a strange sight, a bush burning, yet not consumed. He stepped closer, and a voice thundered from the flames, "Moses, take off your sandals, you stand on holy ground." God had heard the cries of his people, and he chose Moses, the runaway, to be their deliverer. Terrified, Moses resisted. "Who am I to go before Pharaoh?" But God replied, "I will be with you." Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron. They stood before Pharaoh and declared the unthinkable. "Thus says the Lord, let my people go." Pharaoh laughed. "Who is the Lord, that I should obey him?" In response, God moved. The Nile turned to blood. Frogs covered the land, lice, flies, disease, boils, hail, locusts, and darkness. Each plague was a divine strike. Not just against Egypt, but against every false god they worshipped. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard. Then came the 10th plague, the death of the firstborn. God told Moses, "Tell every Hebrew family to sacrifice a lamb. Mark your doors with its blood. When I pass through Egypt, I will strike down every firstborn, but I will pass over the homes marked by blood." That night, death swept through Egypt. From the throne to the dungeon, no house was untouched. Pharaoh's own son was gone. Finally, Pharaoh broke. "Go, leave my land." The Israelites, 600,000 strong, fled in the night, free at last. But Pharaoh changed his mind. He summoned his army, chariots roaring through the desert. The Hebrews stood trapped between sword and sea. They cried out, "Why did you bring us here to die?" But Moses said, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." He raised his staff, and the Red Sea split open. Walls of water rose on each side. The people walked through on dry ground. Pharaoh's army pursued. But God fought for his people. The sea returned, crushing the chariots beneath the waves. Freedom was no longer a promise. It was real. On the far shore, the people looked back, not just at a drowned army, but at generations of chains, broken in a moment of divine power. They were no longer slaves. They were a nation. And Moses, the fugitive turned prophet, had become their leader. But the journey had only just begun. The Exodus isn't just a tale from ancient scrolls. It's a story that lives on. Of liberation, faith, and the God who still hears the cries of the oppressed. When your path is blocked, when fear surrounds you, remember Moses, and stand still, because the sea may just split open,